बोलिए वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। जगतगुरु श्री कृपालु जी महाराज की जय। प्रथमं सद्गुरुं वन्दे श्री कृष्णं तदनन्तरं गुरुः पापात्मनां त्राता श्री कृष्णस्त्वमलात्मनां चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भवमहा दावाग्नि निर्वापणम् श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणम् विद्यावधू जीवनम् आनन्दाम्बुधिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृता स्वादनम् सर्वात्मस्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्ण संकीर्तनम् नमः कमलनाभाय नमः कमलमालिने नमः कमलपादाय नमस्ते कमलेक्षण यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तग्वं ह वेदमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। Eternal seekers of divine truth, let's now chant for a few minutes. Let's chant once again for a few minutes. Jai Radha Madhav, Jai Kunj Bihari. Jai Gopi Jan Vallabh, Jai Girivardhari. Let's praise Shri Krishna Bhagwan, and while we do that, let's meditate on him lovingly. Jai Radha Madhav, Jai Kunj Bihari. Jai Radha Madhav, Jai Kunj Bihari. Jai Radha Madhav, माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी 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 जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी 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 जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी 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 जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी 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 यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन 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 यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन जय गोवर्धन धारी जय कुंज बिहारी 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 जय राधा माधव 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 जय कुंज
बिहारी
यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन
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 जय गोवर्धन धारी जय कुंज बिहारी
जय गोवर्धन धारी
Everyone please sing and clap.
कुंज बिहारी
जय गोवर्धन धारी जय कुंज बिहारी
जय गोवर्धन धारी जय कुंज बिहारी
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 जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी
राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी
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 जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी
जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवर धारी
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 मुरली मनोहर करुणा सागर
मुरली मनोहर करुणा सागर
मुरली मनोहर करुणा सागर
मुरली मनोहर करुणा सागर
करुणा सागर
करुणा सागर
करुणा सागर
करुणा सागर
मुरली मनोहर करुणा सागर
मुरली मनोहर करुणा सागर
मुरली मनोहर करुणा सागर
मुरली मनोहर करुणा सागर
जय गोवर्धन धारी जय कुंज बिहारी
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 जय राधा माधव 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 जय कुंज बिहारी
हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे
हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
बोलिए वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, रासेश्वरी राधा रानी की जय, श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय. Devotional listeners, now I humbly request your kind attention. I would like to ask you a question. Please raise your hand if you don't have any stress in life. I look around and there is no raised hand. And that is natural because stress is a part of life. It is a part of everyone's life. If a child is writing exams, she's stressed. If you're going for a job interview, you're going to be stressed. If you're moving from one house to the other, there is stress involved there as well. If you are going to be presenting something to your co-workers, there's an important presentation, there will be stress. And stress is not necessarily a bad thing. It makes the student work harder. It makes the CEO of a company work more diligently. It makes a person more careful in many cases. Stress is not necessarily a bad thing. If it is managed properly, it's fine. because it's a part of life, it's natural. The problem comes when we don't know how to manage it. If it is mismanaged, then stress can wreak havoc in our life. It will give you high blood pressure. Sounds familiar? It can give you high blood pressure. It can give you stomach problems like ulcers. It will prevent you from taking the right decisions. And stress can be like a vampire that sucks the joy out of life if it is mismanaged, if it's wrongly managed. So, we need to learn about stress, and we need to learn how to handle it, how to manage it properly, so it doesn't harm us. Now, there are two reasons only why we get stressed out. One is that we feel regretful about the past, and the second reason is that we are worried about the future. That's it. We're only stressed out about the past, which we cannot change, and the future, which may not even belong to us. So, while we are feeling regretful about the past and worrying about the future, we're not able to live in the present, which is a shame, because all we have is the present. We are thinking, I wish I hadn't, or I wish I had. If only I had taken that decision. If only I had not taken that decision. Oh, what was I thinking? And we stress ourselves out. And again, all that stress shows up in the physical body as well. And the mind, we torment our mind. Or we are worried about the future. What's going to happen in the future? A businessman came to speak to me and he said, I'm so stressed out. Didi, I'm so stressed out. And I asked why. He said, my business is just taking a nosedive. It's just going further and further down. And I asked, then why the stress? He said, obviously because my business is going down. And I asked, well, what is the worst that can happen? Will you and your family be out on the street? He said, no, it's nothing like that. Will you or your family, you and your family, you won't have any food to eat? Will you starve? He said, no. Then what's the worst possible scenario? And he said, we'll probably have to move into a smaller house. And I asked, did you always live in a big house like you're living in now? And he said, no, we lived in a 2-bedroom house when I was growing up, and there were 6 kids, and mother and father and grandmother. So you lived in a 2-bedroom, 2-room house with so many people in there, and now when you move, if you have to move, you'll move into a smaller house, and how many family members? And he says, it's 4, myself, my wife, and 2 kids. So you think you can live in a smaller house? I suppose so. You'll have enough to eat? Oh, that's not a problem. In fact, I try to eat less. There's too much to eat, and there will be enough to eat in the future. So then why are you worried? And this is something we all need to think about. What is stressing me out? Why am I worried? Why am I tormenting myself physically and mentally? So worried about the future. What if that happens? It hasn't happened yet. What if it does happen? What if that doesn't happen? Just look at the worst possible scenario and embrace it. And then you're good to go. You're not worried anymore because you have already accepted the worst possible scenario. We can handle situations in life in 2 ways. One is ignorantly, the other is intelligently. The better option is to handle it intelligently. And for that, we have to go into our scriptures. Scriptures are But they teach us how to live. They teach us, they give us lessons on how to live a life. And that's why those who accept the scriptures, and we know them as sant or saints, like Saint Tulsidas, Sant Tulsidas, Sant Surdas, so many saints we've had in Hinduism, there are so many saints in all different religions. These people lived on earth just as you and I are living, but they were always so happy. One such saint is called Narsi Mehta. He lived 500 years ago in India. And he went through a lot of misfortune. His house burnt down. His family was killed. But he was dancing in the streets. Bhalum thayum bhangi janjal, sukhi bhajishu Shri Gopal. Meaning, Gopal, or Shri Krishna, must have thought that this house and family members, they were a distraction, so he took them away. Good. Whatever you want, just do that. He's saying to Shri Krishna. And he's happily dancing. He is accepting the will of God. And that is what scriptures tell us to do. Accept the will of God. Know that God is always merciful. Know that what is happening with you is the best possible thing that could have happened. And be all right with it. Do not complain. Do not find fault with God. You do the best you can. But other than that, you just accept the will of God. Intelligence, wisdom lies in accepting the will of God. This is what our scriptures teach us. Mind you, they do not tell us that we should be passive and we shouldn't do anything, just accept the will of God. No, they say do what you can. Kriyaman karm, these are the actions we have the freedom to perform in this life. So do what you can, do the best you can, and then leave the rest in the hands of God. And Shri Krishna teaches us that in order to be stress-free, we need to take care of the body as well as the mind. In the Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna says to Arjun, Natyashnatastu yogosti na chaikantamanashnatah na chati swapnashilasya jagrato naiva charjuna yukta ahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkhaha. Chapter 6, verses 16 and 17. Bhagwan Shri Krishna says, O Arjun, you need to eat properly and you need to sleep properly. Now, modern day scientists tell us this, that to handle stress properly, you need to eat the right kind of food and the right amount of food, and you need to get proper rest. But this is something that Shri Krishna said 5,000 years ago, and his words are recorded in the Bhagavad Gita, which, by the way, is a small part of a much larger scripture called the Mahabharata scripture. Perhaps you know that Mahabharata scripture has 100,000 verses in it. And out of those, 700 of them belong to the Bhagavad Gita, which is divided into 18 chapters. A dialogue between Bhagwan and his devotee, Shri Krishna and Arjun. So Shri Krishna says, Arjun, take care of your body, take care of your health, because that goes a long way in handling stress too. Eat the right kind of food. Eat the right amount of food. Eat sattvic food. Food which is fresh, food which has not been overcooked or over-fried, over-spiced. Food that when you're eating it, you can tell what it is. Not the kind of food, there's so much masala, you can't tell. Well, take a guess. What is it? I don't know. I can't see it. I only see the masala. Not that kind of food. Food that nourishes your body and therefore your mind as well. food which is vegetarian, fresh food, that hasn't been left in the fridge for 12 days. And I say 12 days because I once visited someone and she was kind enough to host me in her house. And when I asked, when it came time to eat, she said, well, I've had this food in the fridge for a few days and I'll just warm it up. And I said, I don't mean to be fussy. I try to be very accommodating. I'm very thankful you have me in your house, but if you give me vegetables, I'll cook the food. And she said, I think you're too fussy. And I said, no, I don't think so. It's not being too fussy. That food has been sitting for a few days now. So sattvic food is food which is fresh and etc. And how much food should I eat? My Gurudev, Jagat Guru, Shri Kripalu ji Maharaj, he would say that keep 1/3 of your stomach empty. Keep 1/3 of your stomach empty. So don't eat like Kumbhakaran, eating and eating and eating. And then when it comes to sleeping, don't sleep like Kumbhakaran, who slept for 6 months at a stretch. It's the weekend. I can sleep till noontime. Yeah, but that's harming the body and therefore the mind. And it goes a long way in harming us in many different ways. So sleep, get enough sleep. Don't deprive yourself. Don't think, well, I can do with 2 hours of sleep a night. No, you'll be like a zombie the next day. You will not be productive. But don't sleep for 10, 12 hours either. Our scriptures recommend 6 hours of sleep for most people, with 3 exceptions. Very small children, those who are very old, and those who are sickly. With the exception of these 3, our scriptures allow us 6 hours of sleep a night. So Shri Krishna tells Arjun, take care of your health. Now you would think that the Supreme Lord of infinite universes wouldn't be talking about things like food and sleep. But he's doing that because it's very, very important. There are so many factors that stress the mind. And having the right amount of sleep and eating the right kind of food and right amount of food will help in preventing that stress. Now, a lot of people today are stressed because of social media. Does that sound familiar? A lot of people, the parents tell their children, social media, but they themselves are on social media a lot. Instead of talking to their children, they're on social media. So it seems we have become very addicted to social media, and that is a big cause of stress in life today. It's a modern problem. It wasn't in the last generation, now it is a big problem. When you look at the pictures of a person who leads a perfect life, you have to know that's a fictional person, or that life is fictional. It's not real. Oh, she's got a perfect life. Oh, look at that couple, perfect life. Look at this family, look at perfect life. And no, they don't have a perfect life. But what are they going to tell you on Facebook and on Instagram? What are they going to post? Pictures of abuse? Pictures of them fighting with each other? Pictures where they're being miserable? They're not going to post those pictures. And here we are looking at them and we think, I am the unfortunate one, and everybody in the world, look at these people. They're so happy, going on vacation here and there, and just living it up. And related to this is a very important principle. If you want to be happy in life, if you want to be free of stress, always look at someone who has less than you. Always look at someone who has less than you. Don't look at the persons who have, don't look at people who have more than you. You'll always be stressed out. In Hindi, we call it 99 ka chakkar. 99 means 99. Where a person thinks, I only have 99 and that fellow has 100. I must get $1 more. I want 100 also. When he gets that $1 more, he thinks, I still have 99. I need 1 more. And that never stops. He's always working to get something more. Always working to get something more. If we can control our desires, then we will control our stress. Desires are such that there's no end to them. The more you have, the more you want. The Ramayana puts it like this. Jo pratila lobh la, jo pratilabh lobh adhikai. Exactly that. The more you have, the more you want. So contain your desires. There is a verse in the scriptures, a shlok, that says, Girir mahan girir abdhir mahanabdher nabho mahat nabhaso piparabrahm tatopyasha duratyaya. A mountain is big, but the ocean is still bigger. The ocean is very, very big, but it's very large, but the sky is even bigger, even greater than the ocean. The sky seems to be endless, but God is even greater than the sky. Please pay attention. The sky seems to be endless, but there is someone greater, and that is God. Now, God is the greatest, but the verse says, desire is even greater than God. Desire is greater than God? Yes, indeed. Because you can attain God. I was talking about the saints earlier, Sant. They who have attained God, they're known as saints. Who have surrendered to God. So God can be attained. You can know God. You can attain God. You can go to the kingdom of God. So you can attain God, but you cannot satisfy your desires. There will always be more. Always more desires, more and more and more. Contain your desires, and you will contain your stress. There was once a man who was traveling, and this was in India, and he, in order to find shelter for the night, he went into a dharmashala. It's like an inn where you can stay for a very little bit of money, or you can stay free of charge sometimes. Dharmashala. He went into the dharmashala, and it was winter's night, and there was hardly any space there, so he was told that he would have to share it with the sadhu who's also sleeping there. So the man went there, and he was given a cot, and he was given a blanket. Unfortunately, the blanket was too small for him. It was a cold night. So sometimes he would pull the blanket up because it wasn't enough for him. Then the feet would get cold. He would pull it down, and then the upper body would feel cold. And he just kept on doing that. And the sadhu kept on looking at him. What is this fool doing? So when this man, he was doing this again and again, finally the sadhu said, "My good man, you are trying to fit the blanket to your body. And this is not what you should be doing. You should be doing the opposite. Fit your body to the blanket." "Maharaj, what do? Do I cut my limbs out?" No. Just fold your body, make it smaller. And then you will have enough blanket. There's a great lesson in that for all of us. Contain your desires. My Gurudev says, "Khoob tarsaya hai. Khoob tarsaya hai teri khwahishon ne tujhko. Khoob tarsaya hai teri khwahishon ne tujhko. Ab tu bhi in khwahishon ko kuch tarasti chhod de." It's beautiful poetry. Meaning is, your desires have tormented you greatly. In other words, we want something, and then if we can't get it, we become very upset. We become very distressed. So when we have desires, those desires torment us. So your desires have tormented you so much. And now you should get even with your desires. When a desire comes into the mind, just say, "I don't want you." Reject your desires, torment your desires, just as they have tormented you. Get even with your desires. In other words, the mind says, I want what he has. Then say to the mind, no, I'm not going to accept you. Because all you're giving me is a lot of stress. I don't have money to buy what he has, and I have enough, so I'm going to reject you. So the desire is being tormented because you're not accepting it. These desires have tormented us to no end. So to manage stress, we need to contain and limit our desires. The happiest person in the world is not the one who has the most amount of wealth. The happiest person on earth is the one who has the least amount of desires. Least amount of desires. He's the one who says, I have enough. How many people have you met in life who have said, I have enough? Those are the very evolved individuals. They are very spiritual beings, spiritual people who say, I have enough. I have enough. Even when I share with others, I have enough. Those are the ones who are very knowledgeable people because they are following the scriptural teachings. They're following the teachings of the Vedas, the Purans, like the Bhagavad Puran, the Gita, Ramayana, and other such divine scriptures of our Sanatan Vedic Dharma, commonly known as Hinduism. Now, meditation has been long hailed as an antidote to stress. We hear so much about meditation, right? Yes? Meditation. Meditate, and you'll be very happy. So a lot of people, they meditate on the breath, inhale, exhale. So they're meditating on the breath. Or a lot of people are meditating on the flame of a candle. A lot of people are meditating on the third eye. In this way, they're meditating. Meditation is very good for stress. It's very good to eliminate stress. Shall I tell you about the best kind of meditation? Would you like to hear it? Yes? I was so excited when I heard it from my Gurudev. It is the best meditation. It's called Roop Dhyan. Roop Dhyan. Can I have you say that after me? Roop Dhyan. Roop meaning form, Dhyan meaning meditation. Not meditation on the breath or the third eye or the flame of a candle, but meditation on God himself. Meditation on not just God, but Radha and Krishna, meaning God with name and form. If I say God to you, you say God, some intangible entity, but Radha and Krishna. Meditation on Shri Radha and Krishna. That is the best thing to do to beat stress, the absolute best thing to do. Because if you're meditating on a candle or a flame on your third eye or breath, that's not going to give you joy. It's not going to give you satisfaction. It's not going to fill your heart with love. But if you do Roop Dhyan, it will fill your heart with love. It will give you so much joy, so much happiness. Roop Dhyan is to be done every single day. I have not found any method to beat stress which is more effective than Roop Dhyan. Conduct an experiment in your life. When you are stressed, feeling stressed out, just do one thing. Close your eyes and visualize. And can you all please do that? Close your eyes. Visualize that Shri Krishna is smiling. He's right in front of you. He's smiling at you. Now he's coming towards you. He is embracing you. As he embraces you, all your worries melt away. All the stress disappears. Shri Krishna says to you in his sweet voice, "My child, why do you worry? I am with you. I am always with you, always protecting you. You don't need to worry." Shri Krishna keeps you in his embrace for a long, long time. And you experience the happiness that you have never experienced before. Now slowly open your eyes. There are so many ways of doing Roop Dhyan. I've just given you a tiny little sample of it. But visualize that Shri Krishna is in your very own house. You can visualize Bhagwan Shri Ram. There is no difference between them. So Shri Krishna is in your house. He's walking all around. Or he's asking you, what is troubling you? Is any trouble in your life bigger than my grace that I'm giving you all the time? Then you'll have to admit, no. There is no trouble, no problem in life, no stress in life that can measure up to his grace. His grace is the greatest. So always do Roop Dhyan. This is the biggest gift that Jagatguru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj has given to the world. He didn't give it to just a few people who call him, few people or select people who call him their guru. No, he gave it to the whole world. He didn't give it to thousands, he gave it to everyone. He didn't give it to just the Hindu, he gave it to everyone, regardless of the religion they follow. Visualize God. He is a part of your life. He's not up there in the sky somewhere. He's not intangible. You can touch him. You can experience him with your five senses. He's not just God. He's your very own mother, your own father, your beloved, your child, your best friend, your eternal friend, your Lord, your master. He's your everything. Every Hindu knows the prayer, and join me if you know this prayer. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. O Shri Krishna, O my Lord, you are my only mother, my only father, my only brother, my only friend, my only wealth, my only knowledge. You are my one and only. This is a verse we are all familiar with now. Let's live this verse. Let's make it come true. These words are true. Let's accept them to be true. Let's realize them to be true. So when you do Roop Dhyan, accept him to be your everything. You're feeling troubled by something, some thought. Shri Krishna comes and take that thought that you have that's troubling you, and Shri Krishna puts it under his lotus feet and he crushes it. There you go, no more stress. Now it's not as easy as that. To do Roop Dhyan effectively, you have to do something else first, and I will talk about that, but let's do a little Sankirtan before we do that. Now as we chant, please do Roop Dhyan. Hari Hari Bol, Bol Hari Bol,
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 हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल बोल हरि बोल,
हरि 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 बोल, बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल, बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल, बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल हरि बोल,
हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल,
हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल,
हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल,
हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल,
हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल,
हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल,
हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल,
हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल,
हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल,
हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल,
हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल,
हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल, बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल, हरि हरि बोल, बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल
बोलिए
हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल, बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल
हरि बोल,
हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल, बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल, बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल हरि बोल,
हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल,
हरि बोल
हरि
बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल
हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल,
हरि बोल हरि बोल
हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल,
हरि बोल हरि बोल
हरि हरि बोल, बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल, बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल, हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल बोल हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल, हरि बोल,
हरि बोल, हरि बोल, 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 हरि बोल, हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल,
Hari Hari Bol, Bol Hari Bol,
Hari Hari Bol, Bol Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol, Bol Hari Bol,
Hari Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol, Bol Hari Bol,
Hari Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, 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 Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol, Hari Hari Bol, Bol Hari Bol.
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 Bol Hari Bol,
Bol Hari Bol.
Bol Hari Bol,
Bol Hari Bol.
Bol Hari Bol.
Bol Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol, 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 Bol Hari Bol.
Bol Hari Bol,
Bol Hari Bol.
Bol Hari Bol.
Bol Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol, Bol Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol, Bol Hari Bol.
बोलिए वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय. To do effective Roop Dhyan, or to even desire to do Roop Dhyan, there is something else we need to do first, and that is Satsang. Satsang. The word is made of two words, Sat and Sang. Sat means Sant. Sang is association. Association of a saint. Not necessarily physical association, but we must associate with the saint in the sense that we are mentally with him, which means simply that you must embrace the teachings of a real guru, a saint, a God-realized soul, someone who has attained a union with God and who has now attained divine knowledge. We must embrace the teachings of a saint, because when we do that, then we come to learn what the aim of life is. By ourselves, we do not know what our life aim is. It's only when a saint tells us, only when a saint explains to us, look, you are not the body, you are the Atma, you are the spirit soul, and you don't belong to this material world, and the material world doesn't belong to you. You belong to God, and God only belongs to you. Only God belongs to you. When we listen to such excellent teachings, when we listen to such lectures, then over a period of time, we fall in love with God. Blessed are they who have a natural love for God. And by that, I don't mean that they go to God when they have problems in life and say, solve it. Solve these issues. Give me what I don't have. That's not love for God. That's just being selfish and hoping that God will give what we are asking him for. I mean love for God, a natural and spontaneous love for God. Where the heart breaks for God and the mind wants to think of God. Bhagwan Ram says in the Ramayana, Mam gun gavat pulak sarira, gad gad gira nayan bahanira. Bhagwan says, when you chant my names, then there should be 3 physical reactions that you should be experiencing. You should have goosebumps on your skin, your body hair rises. You should have a lump in your throat, your voice catches in your throat. You're not able to chant my name properly because you're so emotional when you take my name. And there should be tears falling from your eyes. 3 reactions. There are people who have done devotion in their previous lives, and when they're born now in this life, they, from a very young age, they are very, very much in love with God. They're very spiritual. Mind you, I'm not talking about very small kids who grow up to be like atheists sometimes. In their childhood, they're going to the temple, they're dancing, they're singing, and parents become very happy. It's a wonderful thing. But now the thing is, what will they become? How will they be when they become teenagers? And I mean, these are teenagers, or they're very young people, or they're in the beginning of their lives. And they are very much in tune with God. They are very devotional. They brought that from their previous lives, and now they're building up on that. Love for God, a natural love for God. So there are people who are born with that love for God. But if we are not born with that, we need to work on it now, in this life. And for that, we need Satsang, Sant ka Sang. We need to associate with the saint. That means we need to, as I said, embrace the teachings of a saint. We need to listen to the teachings again and again. We need to learn how to practice devotion from a saint, a guru. The word saint is synonymous with the word guru. The saint we accept as our personal teacher, divine teacher, is known as our guru. He is one with God. That doesn't mean he's necessarily passed away. I mean, internally he's one with God. His teachings will make all the difference in your life. I know they made all the difference in my life. They will make all the difference in your life. And then, perhaps earlier you used to stand in front of God with reverence from far away. But now, because of what you have learned about God, what you are learning about God, now you are able to love Him. You're not fearing Him, you're loving Him. A lot of people say, fear God. No, we must love God, not fear Him. Because where there's love, where there's fear, there's no love. And where there's love, there's no fear. So we must love God. So, in due course of time, there will be love that will be in your heart. Or if there was little love, it will be big love now for God in your heart. And now you'll be able to do Rup Dhyan properly. Now you'll want to do it because it's backed up by knowledge. You see, devotion must always be backed up by knowledge. I don't mean complicated knowledge where you have to read the scriptures. I just mean that attaining knowledge, even if somebody has never been to school, that guru, that saint, will instill knowledge in the heart of that person. Even if it's a small child who is illiterate, but listening to the guru, listening to the teachings of a great guru, a saint, even that child will understand. You don't need to have higher education to understand that knowledge. So when you are in touch with that knowledge, and when you accept that knowledge, embrace it, then you will find that you are loving God, because when you start to know about God, you automatically start loving Him. Jane binu na hoi paratiti, binu paratiti hoi nahi priti. The Ramayana says, first you must know God. Without knowing Him, you cannot have faith in Him. Without faith in Him, you cannot love Him. So the very first thing to do is to have knowledge of God. That He is mine, He belongs to me, I am the soul. The world is there, it's very nice because God has given me that for my body, but I am not the body, I am the Atma, I belong to God. The Atma is Amar, Ajar, Sanatan. The Atma, the spirit soul, is eternal. It never had a beginning, nor will it have an end. That kind of knowledge. And these people in my family, they are my family members. I must do duty towards them, but I must have God in my heart. I must love only Shri Krishna, and I must do my duty towards my family, my society. Those are my duties, but they are physical duties. They're not, and that love is to be reserved for God. That's what Shri Krishna says in the Gita. The gist of the Gita is that. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusvara yuddhacha. Chapter 8, verse 7. Arjun, do your duty. Fight the battle, but keep me in your mind at all times. Think of me all the time. Be a karma yogi. So, to do Rup Dhyan effectively, and even if you want to do Rup Dhyan, to have that desire to do Rup Dhyan, you must first do Satsang, Sant ka Sang, associate with the saint. Embrace the teachings, learn how to practice Rup Dhyan. And when you do Rup Dhyan, and when you have embraced the teachings of a saint, then if you're still suffering from a lot of stress, it means only one thing, and that is you're not putting in the work. That is it. My Gurudev has written so much, so many bhajans and kirtans, thousands. And one of them says, Shri Radhe Ju Hamari Sarkar Fikir Mohi Kahe Ki. Shri Radhe Ju Hamari Sarkar Fikir Mohi Kahe Ki. I am protected by my Swamini Radha Rani. Then why should I worry? Why should I worry? There's no need to worry. Because whether you call her Radha Rani or Shri Krishna, one and the same, when God is protecting me, Shri Krishna is protecting me, then why do I need to worry? And there's a beautiful story in this context that I'd like to relate to you. During the battle of Mahabharat, which lasted 18 days, one evening, when Shri Krishna found out the vow that Bhishma had taken, that he will kill Arjun the following day before sunset, Shri Krishna became very worried. And when evening time came and then night time came, he thought, Arjun probably is not able to sleep. I should go and console him. I should go to him and see what he's doing, how he is. Shri Krishna walked on over to the tent in which Arjun was sleeping, and as he was approaching the tent, he heard snoring sounds from within. And he thought, Arjun is sleeping? He went inside. Arjun was sleeping. Shri Krishna had to shake him and say, Arjun, Arjun. Arjun woke up and said, my lord, Bhagwan, aap yahan? You are here? What brings you here in the middle of the night? Arjun, how is it that you're sleeping at night? Maharaj, it's night time. I'm sleeping. Arjun, don't you know the vow that Bhishma Pitama, the grandsire Bhishma, has taken? Oh, Arjun was yawning. He said, yes, I've heard about that. I know about that. And you're still sleeping? You're not worried that you'll be killed tomorrow? Maharaj, why should I worry? Why should you worry? What I'm saying is, why should both of us worry? You're so worried about me. You're so concerned about me that you're not able to sleep at night. My life is in your hands. Do what you will with me. Why should I worry? And that is the attitude we must take. Why should I worry? When he's so worried about me, he's so concerned about me, he has me in the palm of his hands, and why should I worry? And that is not something fictional. That is a truth. That he has us. He has me in the palm of his hands. He's picking me up like this. Why should I worry? What need do I have to worry? Why we worry is because we lack faith. If we are lacking in faith, we will become worried. We do become worried because we are lacking faith. And the Vedas say, Shraddhatsva tat, Shraddhatsva, Shraddha rakho. Have faith, have Shraddha. Faith that God is my protector. He will protect me. And whatever He does will be the best thing for me. So a true devotee, one who has faith, thinks like this. Perhaps Sri Krishna will give me life. Perhaps He will give me death. But I'm okay with both. Because whatever He gives me is the best thing for me. Perhaps He will give me good health. Perhaps He will give me illness. But I will accept both of them. I will accept either one of them equally. Because whatever He gives me is the best thing for me. Perhaps He will give me wealth. Perhaps He will give me poverty. And I'm ready for both of them. It doesn't matter what He gives me, because what He gives me is the best thing for me. And that is the kind of faith we need to have. When we have that faith, then how can stress come near our mind? It cannot. There is no shortcut. There is no quick fix. In this day and age, when everything happens so quickly, we are not willing to wait. We are very, very impatient. We want everything right away, right away. You want long nails? Well, I have to wait for a long time. No, you can stick them on. You can nails this long. You want blue eyes? Yeah, but I have brown eyes. You just buy those lenses, the blue lenses. You have blue eyes. You want something to eat? Yes, but I don't have time to make any. Instant soup. Go just add water, boiling water. Mix. We are in this day and age where everything is so quick. But there is no quick fix for beating stress. It has to be an everyday. We have to put in the work every single day. And there can be no quick fix. And the only real fix is that which involves God. Roop Dhyan is the biggest stress buster. Every day we must spare some time to do Roop Dhyan. Privately, take the help of bhajans and kirtans, sing the bhajans, sing the kirtans, chant the kirtans, and do Roop Dhyan. Shri Krishna is with me. I'm in Vrindavan. He's playing the flute near the bank of the Yamuna River. And the gopis are there, the Gwalbal, the cowherds are there, and the gopis are wearing these beautiful dresses. I am also a gopi. I am one of them. Just use your imagination and do Roop Dhyan. You'll have so much fun. I always notice that when Kirtan is going on, there are people who are really into it, and they really seem to be enjoying it, and then there are those who are falling asleep. And so I know the ones who are falling asleep are not doing Roop Dhyan, and the ones who are enjoying it are doing Roop Dhyan. It's as plain as simple as that. So life is difficult. Life has its challenges. I'm not saying that life doesn't. There are challenges in everyone's life. But how will you handle those challenges? Will you get stressed out and make yourself physically ill and mentally will you mentally torture yourself? Or will you handle it intelligently? And will you then, rather than looking for the quick fix, will you look at the permanent solution? And that permanent solution is in three-letter word, which is God. That's it. Without God, there's only stress in life. With God, there is no stress in life. But having faith in God is the main thing. And then do Roop Dhyan, and there is no stress in life. Boliye Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai. Srimad Sadguru Sarkar ki jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe.